welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are joining us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM out of beautiful New Orleans. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very excited. I was excited in thinking about today's segment all day. We get to talk about energy and vibration and Sasquatch, and I'm here for all of it. I am so excited. So I'm not going to chat long. I'm going to bring in our guest right away. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for being here. I'm just going to switch this up really quick. You may have seen, if you watched Alaskan Killer Bigfoot, you may have seen our guest. Hello, Denise. Ron Morehead, author, lecturer, researcher, experiencer, and producer of the Sierra Sounds, and self-professed citizen scientist. Please welcome Ron Morehead to the show.
How do you do? Thank you very much for having me, Caroline.
I am so excited. I was very grateful to Michelle DeRoche of the Outer Realm. She is my producer. She's our network manager, and we were talking about Bigfoot, and I was talking about some experiences that I've had, other guests have, and conversations that I've had with people outside of the show, just regular day conversations, and interdimensional beings. And we were talking about those, and she's like, you need to have Ron on. Here you go. You need to have Ron on and have this discussion about Quantum Bigfoot. And I'm just so grateful and humbled.
Thank you.
That you're here, Blake.
My pleasure. I'm glad to be with you.
Thank you.
I love to talk about this stuff.
Me too. Like I said prior to the show, I could talk about this stuff all day. And so for the people that may not know who you are or understand extensive research that you have done, can you share a little bit about where it started? Take us all the way back to 1971.
Okay. Well, it all started in 1971. One of the guys came out the Johnson brothers, who had been visiting the Sierra camp since 1958, they've been going to this wilderness area, which is about 8 miles back into the woods and 8,400 feet in elevation.
Wow.
And they came out with a story that the other hunters couldn't believe. And I just knew them all, but I wasn't a hunter. They all went back up there, and except for me, I didn't go back up then. And one of the guys that night when these things came in to the camp, the Johnson brothers said there's some kind of a monster up there making some really crazy noises. So, and they're avid hunters. I mean, these guys are really, really, really good, and good wilderness guys. And anyway, we all knew each other. The guy came out shaken. He said, "What Johnson brothers have said up there is true. There's something up there that's not right." And all very religious. He was very religious. He didn't quite know where to put that in his paradigm. He just was really shook up. And he left a note for the other guy, said, "I'm out of here." As soon as the light came up and he could get out. You can't go anywhere at night up there. You shouldn't anyway. Might fall off a cliff, whatever. Bump into a tree, bump into something hairy. You don't know. Anyway, the wives were all worried about the other guys that were up there. And they said, "You got to go back and check out. See if they're okay, because they're a day late coming out. They're still not out yet." And he said, "Well, I'll go back," but he asked me to go with him because I'm not going to do that by myself. So that was Donald, and we walked in, and I'll tell you what, it was a very taxing trip on foot. And that's how we were going in. But he's like a mule himself. He's a really strong guy. And I thought I was too until that trip. When you leave the valley floor at sea level and go up to 6,000 feet, where you take off the trailhead and then head up to 10,000 feet before you really break off the trailhead and go into this, you make your own trail then to get to the camp. And so it was My legs felt like rubber. I mean, it was just really, I've been that tired. But so
Wow.
enough about me. I got to camp. They were all okay. And that's when I sell my first track. And they had recorded it on cassette tape. So I heard some sounds too. So anyway, that's how it began for me. It was 1971. It intrigued me a lot because nobody up there was looking for a Bigfoot, which that's how we termed it later on because I had a Bigfoot. And that's the tracks they left anyway.
Yeah.
So
And like giants, they're giants.
they're big, very big. The tracks that were left up there for the Johnsons that they saw were 19 inches, and that's not the biggest, but that's what came into camp. There's more than one came into camp. They were fighting. They felt amongst about the food they left out on the old stove that they had up there. So anyway, I started going back as always like to get somebody to go with me. And usually my good friend Bill McDowell, him and I had horses, and we started riding in and taking supplies on our horses. And I bought a mule, and so did he. And we started making lots of trips by horseback. It's a whole lot easier on horseback as long as you got a good horse. And if you don't have a good horse, it's trouble. It's a lot of trouble. Those trails
Did the
are
horses respond?
pretty.
Like
When Bigfoot
if
was around, no,
yeah, if
not
really,
in the way it was what people would think. Yeah, people would think that they rear up and jump around like they do. When the bears around, they would. So you
well,
see the difference right there.
but then does that lean into horses are so intuitive. Horses,
Yeah, it does.
they train horses
Well,
to be part of therapies, right?
my thinking is they can tune into a frequency or something. They can make some paralyzed, or they can. But the horses just stood. They didn't act like they were asleep. They were really at attention, but they were pointing their ears right towards where the sounds was coming from. And but when a bear come around, and that has happened, they just stop and jump all over the place. We had them,
Yeah.
roped up, tied up,
Wow.
makeshift corral, whatever. So anyway, it was interesting. We had a lot of strange things happening and a lot of organizations. We're all carrying tape recorders. It wasn't until 1972 when we took Al Berry in, and he was an investigative reporter brought to us by Ivan Sanderson, a cryptolinguist. And Ivan Sanderson received a 23-page letter from Warren Johnson, who was the leader of us up there, who's now since passed. Just about all of us have passed away except me and another guy, I think. Our good friend Bill. All getting older. That happens, as we go. Anyway, Al Berry thought it was a hoax.
Sorry. I was just going
He
to say,
didn't
one of the
tell
things
us.
I wrote down, I appreciate how much you respect Al Berry, because if you read Quantum Bigfoot, or if you've seen, if anybody has watched you speak about it, he was like the skeptic he was open-minded skeptic, right? An open-minded skeptic. And
but he's also had he had a master's degree in science too, so he wasn't going to just give that away. He had to stay with academia's thinking.
You developed such a great friendship.
Yeah, we did. We started speaking together and going places together. He started encountering the same thing we had, and he started still looking for a hoax. We didn't know that at the time. He just was doing that via Peter Byrne, because Ivan Sanderson sent the letter to Peter Byrne, who was on Oregon right then. In Oregon, Peter Byrne's he studied a lot in Nepal, and he investigated the 67 Patterson come to. So Peter, knowing Al Berry, he sent him the letter and said, this is probably a hoax, but if you were going to talk to these guys, see if there's anything going on. Well, he did. He came down and interviewed us all separately together. So we took him in 1972, actually. And he started experiencing this also. So he started looking around, going through our packs when we were in camp. We'd go out walking or something. He'd stay back and see if he could find some evidence. But he was really certain it had to be a hoax. Nothing like this ever happens, where these things come around at night and quite often and make these sounds and still don't eat you. Of course, Sketch my mind his name. A guy in Canada who got kidnapped. Osman, Albert Osman. He said that he's got kidnapped, years and years ago, and John Green wrote an article about it after he interviewed him in the 50s, and he said that he was picked up in his sleeping bag when he was camped out at this remote place up in Toga Inlet, he said, in British Columbia, and carried for several hours to this during the night. And he was held captive for 6 days with this Bigfoot family, 2 juveniles and a woman and the man that carried him. And he said they were chattering amongst themselves. So that was interesting. Chattering means they were communicating, right? That's just what we experienced, the chattering, and very rapid chattering. But all very, he knew what academia needed. He started digging up somebody, or trying to dig up somebody that would pay attention to this without making fun of it. He had a little problem there, but finally got a Dr. Curlin at the University of Wyoming. He's a professor of electrical engineering, and he studied the sounds for a year and wrote an article on it and presented it to the Anthropology of the Unknown in British Columbia, Vancouver, and UCB. And anyway, he said that one bit of the sounds, he said, represented an animal 8 foot tall, over 8 foot tall. And he said there's no deception in them. In other words, he had the original recordings Al Berry made, and he said that they were above the human range, in the human range, and below the human range. So that gives them a much better flexibility in their vocal mechanism than we have as humans. That was interesting to us because, okay, we knew they were chattering amongst themselves. We knew they were communicating somehow like that, but we didn't know the significance of it. We didn't know the significance of any of this stuff at the time. We thought there was some kind of gorilla out there messing with us or something. But a very smart and clever, intuitive vanilla gorilla.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and it would sound so different. Like when we're sitting at home in our comfy space, listening to the Sierra Sounds, if we head to your website, ronmorehead.com, and then we're listening to any of those sounds, it's one thing. To be in the dark, in the middle of nowhere, is a whole other level. Adds more to it. Like I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah. We all had high-powered guns. It's a hunting camp, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And Donald, even though he had one, he still got freaked out, so he left, and he won't spend the night up there. He still hasn't, and after all these years. Well, he's dead now. He died. But he never would go back and spend the night. Anyway, it wasn't until Scott Nelson, a cryptolinguist from the Navy, a 2-time graduate of the Navy's Foreign Language Institute in Monterey, California. He vetted him very well, by the way. He came out and interviewed us. He said, I got to study these. So we gave him the recordings, or a copy of them. And he went back and said, these things have a language. And that's what I said, well, yeah, we know that. But he said, no, this means a lot. He transcribed an actual language from these things. He couldn't tell us what they said, but he knows it's a language by the human definition of language, which means morphine streams of words like I'm talking now. And so that made a big impression on us, but it still didn't tell me much until I read Dr. Lieberman's report. He said only humans have the vocal mechanism for language. Dolphins communicate, everything communicates, but nothing but humans communicate spoken language like we're doing now. So that, to me, that put it over the edge for me. There has to be a human component for them, and then, or we have a different component in us. I'm not sure which came. Well, I think I know which came first, but anyway, what gave us those attributes is where I started studying. We're church members and we're going to Christians, and I started looking into giants in the Bible and ancient giants and different texts from different cultures about giants. And there's a lot of history in giants. It goes back a long, long way, but they're not supposed to be around now, but they are around now. And what it led me into was how they did what they were doing around us up there, which was unrelated to language. It was different things. We thought our camp was being torn apart one time, and we looked out the shelter. We was always inside the shelter generally. And when they say we were around, we were. Looked out there, and even though the sounded like the barrels were being, that's what the barrels were keeping food in, was being tossed around, everything was going on, but looked out there and nothing had changed. There wasn't nothing emptied out of the barrels or nothing. And, that's weird. What do you do with that? You just don't talk about it because they either hypnotize us all or they have the vocal mechanism that could actually mimic that sound of rustling around the barrels.
So
anyway, it goes on and on. I'll keep talking until you ask me a question.
But that's something that you've heard, that because you've traveled extensively, so that mimicking of sound, whether it is things being rummaged through, dogs, owls, is it? Do you hear the same stories consistently of mimicking or
yes,
diversion?
Yes,
is it a diversion too?
Well, I think it's I think the twin with you. I've heard people say they heard their dog's name being called. They didn't have their dog with them. The dog wasn't with them. They've heard their name being called, and it was by these things. And they think, because no humans around, they said. Well, I've had a lot of people say we heard sounds just like the Sierra Sounds, but hardly anyone's walking around a recorder, to record them. There have been a few other recordings made, but nothing as clear as what we recorded up there. And we recorded hours of them over more than just a year or two. We recorded all the way through to 76. But nothing's as clear as the ones I produced on the CDs. And,
do you think? Sorry. Do you think that they're it's like poking to see how the response is, right? So we're going to see how they respond to this, and then we're going to choose our own interaction back.
Yes, I think you're right on it there. I think they were told. We didn't know that at the time. When I started interacting with them, we were outside the shelter, which was the first. It was 1974. That's the night I got to see the glimpse of one. And so did Bill, my friend. He's seen a different one. And they were yelling something at me, and I was mimicking them back, which was, they were trying to say something to me. It's actually a question, according to the cryptolinguists. And if you hear them, which I recorded them that night, you can hear the sound that they were making at me, mimicking them back, which really they're trying to tell me something. Cryptolinguist says it's the same vocal mechanism that in 74 as he studied from 72, Al Berry's recordings.
Right.
And he said that he thinks they slowed their voice down to something that I might be able to understand. But I didn't. I wasn't even thinking that way then. I'm still thinking of them as a wild ape out in the woods.
Right.
So it's,
but that the change in how you would perceive them from the time you start until, that having more conscious awareness and researching more and understanding quantum physics or those possibilities, like it would have been life altering forever after, like what you thought they were to potentially this other being, intelligent, intuitive, interdimensional, not just an ape.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, when we first started out, they were beating their chests. They were doing all kinds of scary things. You can hear that in my first CD that I produced. It's the one that Jonathan Frakes, he actually narrates it. And it's Al Berry's story. I wrote my story, the second CD, and got the sounds that I recorded that night and other times too. And on that one, it's interaction.
If they are able to pick up, if our thoughts are vibration, and they are able to intuitively pick up on our thoughts, the first way of react or interacting, banging their chest, hitting knocks, would that be in response to the thoughts? Like as your thoughts changed about them, did the interactions change?
I don't think so. It's more of an intimidating sound. The first
Really,
ones
eh?
we first
In my
encountered them.
space you need to go?
Huh?
Like that you were in their space and they're trying to get you out?
It sounded like that, but you don't know what they're thinking. You just know that it sounded very aggressive. And
Right.
they were taking our food at the time when we left it out for them. They didn't take the food we left in the barrels, but they would take the food we left on the stove, which we hauled in on mules and put
Right.
together up there. But there was a kind of over the years, it kind of we weren't afraid of them. Is what I'm saying. After the initial growling
Yeah.
sounds, because we figured if they was going to get us, they would have got us by now. They had all kinds of
That's right.
opportunities.
Yeah.
And so our
The
fear
bears are probably
subsided.
more expensive or more scary. The bears and the cliffs are probably more scary than
Well,
if you're
except the
going to have
bears
fear
down,
about anything, right?
except those bears are black bears, and they will get you if they're real hungry, but they don't usually mess with you. They run from you. And we
Right.
had one 76 come into camp and was tearing things up. Anyway,
Wow.
uh,
Sorry, I
that's
got you off
another
track.
story I write about in my first book. So it's quite a compelling story. I mean, we got a documentary being made on it now. It should be out this next year at the Sierra camp, and should be good.
Wow. Well, I'm
Uh,
gonna look forward. I'm gonna look forward to that. Like
Well, it gets
it's
into the quantum aspect too, because Alberry being a master's in science, he said, whatever you do, stick with science when you talk about this stuff up here. Don't talk about the lights or the crazy stuff that goes on. A lot of crazy stuff went on up there that academia can't answer in Newtonian physics. So it got me off on the quantum physics, because what does answer this stuff? It has to be a rule that governs how they can do that stuff they were
right.
doing. And I found that quantum physics does. And it's not a theory. It's really they call it quantum theory because you can't see it until you can see
Right.
it. With Newtonian physics, everything has material, physical, measurable, predictable. Quantum physics is not that way, but we live in a world of quantum physics. All the way according to Dr. Christopher Brer at West Texas A&M, everything from the atom through the cosmos works on the rules of quantum physics. So you get into that, and you get with my religious spiritual background, which I'm not religious anymore, but I'm definitely spiritual like you are and like everybody is, whether they like it or not. There's an entity inside of you that's you, you're not a body running around with a spirit. You're a spirit running around with a body.
Exactly.
Anyway, I got into all that, how we really are, and how telepathy works, and how different things like that work. A lot of people say they mind speak. Anyway, it's fun. It's really fun researching this stuff, and I encourage anybody interested in this to look into quantum physics, because it's how things operate in your life. It's how
Yeah.
things operate in this world, and it's also based on everything being energy, frequency, and vibration, which we are. Everything
Yeah.
is. And according to Einstein, even if you find the frequency of something, you can change its matter. And to me, that's how miracles were done. You know, masters who could
Agreed.
do miracles and find the vibration of something and change its matter. And
Michelle is just
so,
popping on. So Michelle you were on her the Outer Realm with her and Amelia Pisano.
hi,
She's just
Michelle.
saying hello. Agreed. But more and more people are becoming more consciously aware and working on opening up intuitively and shifting their vibration. So I mean that collective, right? If we understand that we are a collective, and collectively, if we are all raising the vibrational level, how we can change our reality, how we can change our experience in a different way.
Sure. Everything really goes into vibration, because it's a vibration. They can mimic you. They can tune into your vibration. I think that's what we experience up there seems to be able to, because something froze us, me and Warren Johnson, like a force field when we were up there once. And we couldn't go any further. And it wasn't fear at the time. It was just something like, I related to something like Star Trek, a force field.
So that would lead. Okay, I have 5 different questions that I was going to spit out at one time. So we're going to roll it back for a second and take a deep breath and start with one. If I want to keep going with the language part first, because I want to talk about the Alaska Killer Bigfoot, because when you brought the recording up there, you played those recordings, and then they had immediate response, and they ask you, like, did we just make them angry? And you're like, well, quite possibly, because you don't know what you're playing, right? Yeah, you'll find out.
One guy was there with
I was
he had
so
a high-powered gun with him to protect us. So
yeah, I was
had they came out of the woods and screamed at us,
really,
he would have shot him probably. I don't know that, but I just suspect that's what it's for.
There was a whistle response, and there was some whoops as well too. Like there was a response, but when they brought you on, and I know I had shared this before we started, when they had brought you into the camp and you were sitting around the fire chatting, and you spoke about them being shape, like changing their shape, or being dimensionally being able to shift how they present, and watching I think it's McDowell Kyle, who was there as security, his head just snapped up, like you can see he had this aha moment of what you were actually presenting to him, and so many people shifting their awareness and how they look at Bigfoot in that way, right?
Well, it's a little bit out of the box, yeah. I have to go back into quantum physics, because that's what that was based on.
Yeah.
If everything's energy frequency, and according to Paul Dirac, West at Florida State, when he got the Nobel Prize in 1933 for antimatter, and this is not deep; it's real shallow. I just listen. But the antimatter is the direct exchange between energy and matter. Matter and energy are interchangeable. And that was also established by Einstein with his mathematical equation. But Paul Dirac won the Nobel Prize for it in 1933. And okay, so what? Everybody says, well, that's a fact, because CERN in Switzerland in 2012 had a particle at high speed change into energy. You can detect energy, but you can't see it. So if that's what they're doing through frequency vibration, that would answer a lot of questions for people. How do they disappear? Can they disappear? If matter and energy are interchangeable, and science says they are, and these things can reach a frequency, possibly through the vocal mechanism. I don't know that, but we have never been able to see the scope of their vocal mechanism, how high they really go, because we're using cassette recorders and that stuff just isn't on there. But if they can do that, they can change their matter, their body, into energy only, and they would appear to cloak, to disappear. And actually, they've been seen going in and out of. It sounds so crazy, but it's true. I've heard people say this, and into trees, and I think that's what.
Doesn't sound crazy to me.
Well, there's so many reports of these things being seen around clear cutting and cutting of trees. A lot of them. And I write about a whole chapter of trees in my new book, Bigfoot Unveiled, because it's just there's something going on with trees that these guys they don't like us destroying the forest like we're doing. Of course, we're destroying the whole earth too. We're kind of a warring species too. We fight all the time, and that's not where we're supposed to be. Right. I've researched back into the Mesopotamian, Sumerian texts given to them by the Anunnaki. They write about the Anunnaki, the oldest known form of written language there is. It gets into giants who came down from the sky, called the shiny ones, and they was messing with the genome of different species. Like, a lot of people have heard that, but they thought it was all myth and legend. But they've got over 12,000 of these tablets translated now, and they're reading about stories. And you hear the story of Cain and Abel, you hear the story of the Garden of Eden, you hear all this stuff in the Bible. But
Right.
what things that take just maybe a few years in the Bible, hundreds of thousands of years in a Canadian vortex. They just kings would reign for thousands of years, but they decided to fall. They came to Earth and started to mess with the human genome. And anyway, that's a really interesting part I get into in my last book. But it's who we are as humans, how important we are as humans. Most people just think, well, we're here, we're going to go. No, there's more to us. We got the ethereal part and we got the physical part. But I'm way ahead of you maybe on your questions. Did you have 5 questions you were asking about sounds?
Well, I think I showed you. I had like 4 pages of questions with about 20 things highlighted as talking points. But I 100% agree. One of the things I had wrote down was actually something that I dog-eared the book all over the place because, we're going to hit that too. But spiraling your own energy, like so that you can, get to that place of invisibility for yourself as well too. We all have these abilities within us that are untapped, and the more that you lean into it, decalcifying your pineal gland, meditation, understanding energy and vibration, your personal, and how it is rippling out to the collective consciousness. We're all doing it. We are all contributing to that collective in our own special way.
And I got a little picture I drew in my new book about the pineal gland and how it's connected directly to the heart. The heart has a brain. The brain has to be in coherence with this box sitting up on our head, which has been conditioned. That's the problem most people have, is becoming one with all this. Yeah. That's how you get into the ethereal part, the spiritual part of what's really going on, and that's when you'll understand more. The heart has to get in rhythm with the brain, and instead of the brain analyzing everything like we do, we analyze everything. We're taught from the time of birth, this is right and this is wrong, and this language we speak, this language we don't speak, this is where we go, this religion we study, this religion we don't study. We're all conditioned, everybody is. And we have to not disregard that condition, but be able to reach out and understand what your gut feeling is. That's your heart's brain. Your heart's brain will tell your brain up here what to do, but just don't let it start analyzing. You get a gut feeling you should go to the right, but your brain says go to the left. Go to the right. Learn how to listen to your heart, and you'll always be in the right place, doing the right thing.
Yeah,
that's why.
I agree, and it's usually that first. It's the first reaction. It's the first thought, and when you sit with it, even just for a few seconds, it goes up to the itty bitty shitty Chihuahua brain overthinking immediately, very quickly. So it's always trusting that first bit. Michelle Plummer.
They call it the monkey brain. The monkey brain.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Michelle Plummer is just commenting that she feels that Bigfoot hold a lot of compassion for us humans. But if they're here as guardians and teachers and guides, right? And I think that's part of us needing to be open-minded. So being open-minded, balancing that left brain, right brain, that we're here to be of service just like everybody else. Everything.
We are. That's what we're supposed to. Yeah. We're supposed to respond to our experiences, and that's all we're here for, to experience, so we can learn how to respond to negative things with love and compassion. But I got to back up and say one thing real quick. They're not all the same. I don't believe these things are all the same. Different types of aliens have been on this planet manipulating the genome of different species. And I've been in all the world now studying this stuff, looking into it, and it's just not all of them could be good necessarily. So
Right.
what they had up in Portlock when I was up there, that Killer Bigfoot thing, that was real. What they had up there, there really was something. It probably still is.
Aggressive.
Well, what was happening up there? We don't know. All I know is because it happened in the late 1940s, early
Right.
50s. And, but they evacuated the whole village because of the aggression this thing was showing, killing people and dismembering close to 30 or so.
Yeah.
And, but what I seen from the pictures, they was really bringing in the fish. I mean, it was a lot of fishing going on there. And they
And
were
again,
timbering too. And I
when you
flew over the
see their
helicopter.
face, when they show their faces, when you say you're assuming there's one, is like again that they hadn't even processed the idea that it could be a family unit or that there could be more than one.
Oh, I'm
They
sure.
were
Oh, there
like,
has to be.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
You know, and you share in such a way that is not dismissive or talking down to someone. You're just sharing from your knowledge and experience, and in such a nice a way that's easy to accept, right? You're not trying to give them that hard punch.
Well, that
With
didn't get
that,
you anywhere.
pardon?
That doesn't get you anywhere.
It
But I'm
doesn't.
trying to convince people that there's more going on than what they can see. We only see within light's frequency, which is 1 in
Yeah.
30, 770 terahertz. That's the frequency light is in. There's all these other frequencies going on. And you got to understand that, like, a bear can smell 20 times better than a human can smell. 20 times better. That was proven in Yosemite at a ranger showed where they were putting out cans of different food to see which one the bear wanted. And for a minute there, they thought the bear could read the labels. So the bear likes peaches. He likes peaches. He gets the peaches every time. Well, they decided to take the labels off, and mix the cans up, and bear still got the peaches. You can smell right through the can.
Right.
Bears,
I think,
they can't see worth a flip, but they sure can smell good.
yeah. I have, from the time I was very little, been able to see people that are crossed over and see things that other people couldn't see from the time I was very little. So for me, that has been my career for 18, almost 18 years. And yeah, normal within our house, and how I was raised with my grandfather as well too, like that there's more than we can see. There's just more that we can see, and we have inside ear, inside eye, outside eye, like blending our energetic body and our physical body so we have a full experience.
Does that ever wake you up during the night?
No, I have
When you
a do
dig?
not disturb sign. No. I do so much work all day long that when I fall asleep, I want to wake the neighbors up snoring. I want to be so sound asleep. I do not want to be woke
What I
up.
mean, do you ever see these images at nighttime?
Oh yeah. Yeah. At night, yes. And
I do too, by the way.
yeah, at nighttime for sure.
And I
But
don't like to tell people that they're nutty or something, but no, it wakes me up. I'm wide awake, and there's this thing walking by me or looking at me or something like that. It's a face
yeah.
that I don't recognize, and so I
Yeah.
just say thank you, good night.
I just have a
I go back
rule,
to sleep.
like,
It's
please
usually
do
when
not
you're
wait for me outside my door.
just
That's my rule. Wait at the door. Don't come in. But then they line up
uh,
at the door. So
uh,
I'm
oh,
okay
that's
with that.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
I would wish they could
because
talk. They
I'm
don't
willing
talk
to.
to
I
me.
think because I'm setting that intention. I understand how blessed I am that my purpose and my passion and my profession are all one. Like that, and not very many of us get to have that. So yeah, I just have the rules. Like I just don't, I need to be able to sleep because I'm going to be of service in so many ways all day long, that when it's my time to rest and recharge, then I have that space. Right.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. That's good.
But the telepathy part, as you've shifted your own, do you tap in with them that way? Have you been able to tap in that way?
Well, 2 nights ago, nothing happened last night, 2 nights ago, I had asked for somebody to come and talk to me, but just talk this time. And instead of just letting me see you, because it used to freak me out when this would happen, because I thought, well, what's going on here? But it's usually between when I'm going out of my theta state of sleep, coming into my alpha, which is when you're not asleep. Then all of a sudden you're awake and your beta state, just I am anyway. And that happened to me night before last. And there was a woman, and she was right up here, and I was in bed by myself during the night. And I looked at her, and I tried not to get shook up or anything, because I know they're not going to hurt me. But I really want them to talk to me and tell me what they want to say. Or maybe they just want to wake me up because maybe I'm snoring too loud. I don't know.
They just enjoy your company. Maybe you were snoring really loud.
Maybe so.
Like, hey, buddy.
But there's a lot of mysteries associated with these Bigfoot things. And I think this whole Bigfoot thing brought me into this circle of understanding what things are all about, what we're all about, why we're here.
Yes.
I think I got a handle, or at least I got a good theory on all that stuff.
It's all
we're here
connected.
only, if I can prove to you that we're only living in the now. We can only live in the now. Tomorrow don't exist. Yesterday is all we have, and the memories, and that's not existing anymore. So all we have is we're existing right now. So I think all our thoughts of what happens to you for tomorrow is brought about through your memories of yesterday. You make your tomorrow sometimes. In fact, that's what science says.
And if we bring it back around to experiences with Bigfoot, do you feel that they can pick up your vibe and intention ahead of time? So
yes.
And do they choose you? Do they decide, if they are watching, observing, and if it's a family unit, even with language, right? We have toddlers that pick up sound first, and then they have full words, and we teach them to the stranger danger, right? So if they are family units, are they teaching them the language and stranger danger, and we're the strangers for them? Like I know I just tossed it out at you. So wherever you want to start.
Well, let's pick up right there. The night I saw one, the big one over here to my right, up behind me, he came shooting down through the trees, real bright evening. We're still outside, hadn't gone to the shelter yet. But we'd heard him when we got into camp, beating on rocks and trees and rhythmically. So we knew they were around. So we learned just to keep doing what we're doing. Don't shine a light or nothing like that. Just ignore them. Ignore them, they're coming closer. But there was a little one there. You could hear him talking. And I think they trained their young ones how to deal with us humans. Because I think once they have a young one in this dimension, they have to raise them in this dimension until they teach them how to go out of it or how to do what they can do. Like we teach our kids, Right. I've heard, I got a report from a deputy one time who watched the family of 3, actually for quite a while through binoculars. And he said they were pulling limbs off a tree, wiping out their tracks, showing him, the young one, how to do it.
Right.
Until they learn how to cloak and get out of this vibration, because once you cloak and your matter turns into energy, you have no more density, so you're not going to leave a track anymore. So that explains a lot of people that's reported tracks just stopping, and that does happen. But again, they're not all the same. I'm not sure all these Bigfoot, they call Bigfoot, Sasquatch, are of the same makings. In other words, different aliens have been here, they're doing different things, and some of them may have the ability to speak and some of them may not. It's just,
I guess it's like us, right? We can't assume that we're all on the same vibrational. Well, we're not all on the same vibrational frequency, and we don't have all the same skill set, so we can't assume that they do as well too. And if they're interdimensional, then we can't assume that they're all coming from that same other dimensional space.
Also, they could have crossbred with indigenous people, which I think happens. According to native lore, it has happened. That would make one more human-like than others. And that's kind of an interesting theory.
It's something, it's a theory that I've heard before.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard it a lot. So,
and with the Patterson Gimli video, there's something to that. Like when you're watching that video, when you're seeing that picture, there's something to that. It's so human-like in the face and the gait. There's something to that.
Well, not just that, but they're the tracks they leave are very very human-like. They got an arch in them. They got our tracks are different. They got 5 toes like that. There are very little arch in them. Hard to tell right from the left because they walk one foot in front of the other, and it just they're different. And the thing is, I got a Patterson track in somewhere in my box somewhere, and it's just you put them side by side, and they don't even mind if everybody accepts the Patterson track, which they should because I believe it's a real track. But I think it's been crossbred, diluted down the ages of indigenous people, and that's what I think. However, it still maintains some of its attributes. And,
I've had different guests on that have talked about how their indigenous communities have, at one point in time were in full communication with Sasquatch, with those communities as well too, and how it shifted and changed over the years, and people being abducted. There are still, some people that say that those abductions are taking place, especially in BC. In the northern communities, that those abductions are still it still takes place.
Yeah, that goes back for eons. Long time. It's actually the Anunnaki who came here supposedly for doing that. That's what created the Nephilim. The Anunnaki is supposedly a race of entities that come from the sky.
Right. But I mean, are we all hybrids of some kind?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Something made us, and according to cuneiform text, it was the Anunnaki, which were 9-dimensional beings.
It just, gives you a whole lot to shift and change, and why it's so hard for some people to have a conversation.
It's almost impossible to have to go this deep with anyone who's been raised religiously. And even if you're not religious, you always hear the term God, like it's somebody up in the sky watching everything you do. Like George Carlin, he heard his interpretation of that or not, but he said somebody up in the sky is watching everything you do, everything. And he's got 10 rules you got to go by. And if you disobey those rules, he's got a very special place for you. It's going to burn. You're going to just be in all kinds of trouble. You're just going to hurt all the time, forever and ever and ever. But he loves you. That's so funny. Well, anyway,
I've had people protest, actually. Like, people protested, certain religious groups protested about me working in their neighborhood, in their community, and then that same organization, organized religion, in my community, asking me to donate a gift certificate for sessions for their fundraising. So I think it just depends, you know. Everybody's got their own self-serving needs.
Well, everybody has a choice of what to believe and what not to believe.
Yeah.
And a lot of them's been brainwashed since the time they were born.
And eventually people hit that there has to be more spot.
Oh,
and then
there has to
once
be.
they hit that,
Even atheists.
Yes.
Atheists don't want to believe it. They really, at the bottom level, it comes down to them dying. They think there might be a God. They want to make sure that something right happens to them. But antagonists, I can talk to people all day long how you can establish there is a primal source up there, which we all come from. We're all supposed to be part of that oneness that's up there, and we all are. We just have to learn how to connect those things I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, and then become one with it and start doing. Because what happens tomorrow doesn't matter. What happened yesterday doesn't matter. Again, none of those two things exist anymore. One thing that exists is what you're doing right now in this time zone.
And really understanding that our thoughts, words, deeds, and actions matter. Like because it's rippling out. And are you contributing in a way that's helping elevate the vibration, or are you contributing in a way that is constricting it? Right.
Right. Yeah. I think it really matters if you're thinking something as opposed to saying something. Because your thoughts, your mouth will take on what your brain's been thinking. So if they can read inside your brain, the wave that you're creating, not just the voice that you're sounding like. But I think the voice is very important for us because that establishes something and it sends it out. And everybody can hear that, where your mind, only certain things can pick up that frequency.
I tell people, when you say it, you claim it. Like when you say it, you claim it. Like
you can't say take this sickness away from me, because you're saying you got a sickness. You want to say what you want, not what you don't want.
But with your intuition.
I am healed. I am perfect. And love yourself. Because God is love, and God is in each of us. He's in each of us.
Yes,
you have to
agreed.
learn how to appreciate who we are.
Though my monkey brain can get pretty loud sometimes, so I have to say the I am statement's a little different. I have to go, I'm in the process of.
Did I lose you?
Oh, I think did we? Oh, we went a little sideways. Maybe it dropped out a bit. How about you guys in the chat? Do you guys do those I am statements, raise your vibrational level? Do you do meditations? What are your thoughts about Sasquatch being vibrationally being able to tap in with Sasquatch? You guys have some thoughts that you'd like to share? I know that I've had friends tap in and say that I got to pass the vibe check. Exactly. I know that I've had friends that are tapped in, and it was eye-opening. Actually, I think it was Lily Nova. I had Lily Nova on, and you guys can, if you access the archive, when I had Lily Nova on, she talked about connecting with Sasquatch through meditation and telepathy, and that a whole family had accepted her in, like that they had watched her for a while, and then she passed the vibe check. So having these interactions with them, because they vibed. Were you back?
Yeah, power went off for a minute there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Everything stopped. I must have been saying something the Google gods didn't want.
Maybe what I'll do is just take this a quick second to do our station ID fast, and then I won't have to interrupt you. We can get right into the conversation and keep it going. So for those of us who are just joining us, you are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 107.7 and 105.3 FM out of beautiful New Orleans. If you are watching us live or watching us, you can watch us on Roku, YouTube. You can search UFO Paranormal Radio and then Spirit Switchboard. And our archives are listed everywhere. All of the shows that are through UPRN. There's so many different shows that support everything. So today's guest is Ron Morehead, adventurer, producer of the Sierra Sounds, author, researcher, lecturer. Oh, do you have, thanks for being here, Ron. Do you have the new book? Oh, Bigfoot Unveiled. Did that come out in March?
It's out now.
Yeah, did it come out in March? I don't have that one. Oh, I do have that one, but please do not be offended, but I got that one on Kindle.
Okay, I'm not offended. I just want the word to get out.
Copies of, though.
Yeah. The first one. Go ahead. Voices in the Wilderness. That's my first book. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one, the Sierra Camp. That's the one that got me. That's my chronicle. And actually, that's the one I should have more protein today.
Okay.
Documentaries being made about the Sierra Camp now.
I'm excited about that.
2 or 3 months. There's a trailer on my Facebook page right now for it. It's Ronald J. Morehead. You'll see a trailer to it. Yeah.
I'm going to look
for it. The first time ever, Bill McDowell. I've got it on the website. I should do that.
Yeah. I know.
I need a guru. I need a guru for my website.
You have a daughter. Does your daughter help you? My daughter helps me with a lot of that stuff. I am so grateful for my daughter that she is patient with me in helping me with the techie things.
Actually, my daughters are both in the West Coast now. I'm here on the East Coast now, so it's not easy to
yeah.
No, I have daughters. I had 3 of them. One of them passed away years back.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
3 grandchildren, which are very precious. Hope to bring them out here.
It's a whole other experience with grandchildren, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I have one. I have one granddaughter, and she calls me Queenie. She is brilliant. She is such a joy. I'm so grateful for her too. And I think with children, when we have our grandchildren or our children, they really help teach us and push us to remember to stay in the now moment. They are so in every moment, in this now moment, all the time. They are our best teachers for that.
Yeah, I got a cat that way.
My dogs kind of are. Okay, Sierra Camp documentary. Are there going to be surprises, things that we haven't heard about that are going to be in the documentary? Not that I don't want you to spill the beans about it. Are there things
I don't know. I haven't seen everything they put together yet. They've been interviewing me for a couple of years now, so they got a lot of data. And they actually went up there this last summer, this last July, I think it was. And David Johnson, Warren Johnson's youngest son, he's the youngest one that's still alive, and he took him up there. That was after the fires too. Here he was, individual. Yeah. Some of them could be interdimensional. Some of them I think stay here on Earth, but all the time live in caves. But anyway, getting back to the documentary. Huh?
Yeah, the documentary. Please share some more about the documentary.
Well, the face page, I can see it. It's only about 3 minutes long, I think. And yeah, what I was going to say is Bill McDowell, my buddy, my brother to me, all these years, we used to go up there together with the horses. He still lives in the West Coast. And Lewis Johnson, who just got interviewed this last summer by these people that are doing he's a Warren Johnson's brother. He's in his 90s. He just had a stroke right after that, so I'm not sure how he's doing yet. But those two got interviewed, and that'll be new. And
it's an incredible legacy that you guys are leaving. It's an incredible legacy.
Oh, and you know, I thought it should be told a long time ago, but it's getting told now. Just what we ran into up there, and you really can't deny it. I mean, a lot of people don't understand if they deny it, say, oh, it's all phony or something like that. They just haven't looked into the studies we've had done, the people that have knowledge, the professionals. It's just, it's real. And what's going on around these things is real.
So the lights, can we talk about some people are going to call them orbs or balls of light, balls of energy. Could we talk about your experiences or your thoughts about?
Yeah, they are balls of energy. They are. Some people report seeing a Bigfoot, and then it just reduced down and go into a ball of light and shoot off. And actually, somebody filmed that here recently. Which you don't know, other than there's 2 people who witnessed it. Really interesting, because a lot of people reported that, but to see how it looked, really interesting. We had lights up there. Johnson said they had lights, orbs, small ones, not real small, but falling around above their head during the night. It was outside. I wasn't up there at that time, but I have seen other lights up there. In 2018, when I took David Pilates up there to do a little coming around the camp, he reproduced what we saw in 2016, 2 years earlier, which was a bar of light, which was probably 3 foot long, maybe 4 foot long, just slowly moving through the trees. And we watched it for a long time. And you don't know what it's going to do. You just still don't know. You don't know about any of this stuff, really. And we watched it for several seconds, so this went outside. I don't know what its intention is or anything.
Could those balls of light be part of their community? Like another, if one is physically in the space, but one is spiraling, right? If they're making their energy move so that they are.
I don't think they're separate. Whatever's going on is going on. They're clearly in one, I think.
Okay.
In one awareness, like we're supposed to be. Like we will be, like we are when this body passes on our ethereal.
Like our higher self hanging out? You know, if our higher self is connected, I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably what you're seeing.
Yeah.
The ethereal
That's
part
fascinating
of
to
who
think
we are.
about.
We really are, yeah. But
Well,
who we really are is in this body that we're in. It's had several bodies, I think.
Yeah.
I believe in multiple embodiments, which I didn't used to. I wasn't raised that way at all, but I am. I'm on that side now of the fence just because too much points towards that. Especially the theory that I think we're here for the experience. If you haven't learned everything in this 3D experience that we're in right now, in other words, if you respond to things with hate or viciousness or something like that, you're gonna have to respond to it properly someday to elevate yourself out of this third dimensional frequency, third density. So that's what I call, a lot of people call reincarnation, but I call it multiple embodiments just because it sounds better. It doesn't throw some
I
people
agree
off.
with you. Reincarnation makes me cringe a little bit.
If you don't respond to everything, you're gonna have to learn it someplace.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
It's an interesting
Hi,
thought.
Tammy. I think that
And it also gives us
go ahead.
It gives us a chance to come back and respond properly with love and compassion. I'm going to say that because that's what elevates us all. And that's what the masters taught, love and compassion. And once we respond to that properly, that issue, like something went wrong and you thought about it or fought with it or hated it or something like that, that's what you got to get over, to get that release from you. You do that through frequency.
What I teach.
It sometimes takes another life, takes more than one lifetime.
Sad, right? I don't know. I teach people
you come up.
That our purpose is to share the gift of who we are unconditionally from our heart space, from the world around us. And the gift of who we are is constantly changing with every experience that we have. Hopefully.
Yeah.
If we're learning.
You respond properly, yeah.
Yeah, if we're learning, then it's
so we're here to learn. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Lena. Lena, I'm very sorry. Hi, Lena. I'm sorry about your mom. I saw your post today about your mom passing. I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm holding you and your family in my heart and my thoughts. Hi, Michelle. It's nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, Michelle.
You're welcome, Lena. Do's and don'ts. Do you have a suggestion list for people who may want to head out into the wilderness and go, off the beaten path? Do you have some suggestions and thoughts? Like
a lot of them.
I know.
First of all, you got to learn
a short list.
You got to learn to control your fear. Fear is your enemy. And if you don't learn to control that, you'll not have much going on other than what you're thinking. Because your fear is only a thought of the unknown. And if you think you're going to get attacked by something, you probably will. If you know who you are as a human, you won't, because we have dominion on this planet. And, yeah, and there's a lot of things that I write about.
Yes, we are magical beings of light. We are magical.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're right on.
Yeah. Do you think a big part
of
in Ontario?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're going to ask me something.
Oh, I was going to ask. So my friend Jen is asking if we should bring apples if we are going out. Do you think that,
But how hungry you are, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I think they enjoy eating. They're all omnivores like we are. So they enjoy eating the food that we eat. They don't like rotten things.
Yeah.
They keep spooling up on us, don't they? So yeah, we leave food out. We a lot of times we take Spam up there in the cans, and fry that on the stove, and they eat that, and they like that. They did apples, yeah. You put them someplace where a regular varmint won't get them, like a squirrel or something like that. I'd time up in a tree way up there somewhere. They see you do it, and they'll show it as a gift because they do gift us back. They gifted us back.
Yes. I have a friend. He's got a podcast out. I've had him on the show. His podcast is Bigfoot Banter with Richie B. He bought this property, and that the Bigfoot that are on his property chose to present themselves to him, and he has this thing that he calls the gifting chair. He straps on his camera. He takes people out with him. So it's kind of like that boots on the ground. You're having the same experience with him in the moment when he's there, but he has a gifting chair, and he's coming from the right heart space and intention, but he's having all of those sort of experiences, and he finds it interesting in what they'll pick and choose what they're going to eat. But he's seen the cloaking and the samurai chatter. The samurai chatter and a pop, almost like a pop or a sound where they're potentially coming in and out of portals, right?
Could be. I do believe some of the Knox people here, I know they communicate with Tree Knox, but I heard a pop up there when they're real close to me, just a real loud, like a gunshot going off. And at the time, I thought it was just a big tree knock close to me, but afterwards, I thought, since I don't know how sound works, how energy works, and stuff like that, sound coming out of a tree or going into a tree, it's the energy. They need a lot of energy. That's why some batteries go dead. That's why some are seen along transformers, things like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask about, draining the batteries or draining equipment. I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of us. It's that big energy, and we're popping our own equipment today and making it malfunction. It's just a lot of big energy. But that happens when I'm working.
Well, there's a lot more going on with these things. They're not all the same. I do believe there's a UFO connection with them. Some of them. And, in fact, that was first reported in 1888 at Humboldt.
And people find that stretch hard, right? It's hard for people to put those together. It can be a very polarizing conversation, because there are some people who are very grounded in their belief system and not wanting to be open-minded, that there is an alien connection as well too, or interdimensional, that
Well, that's why I got into quantum physics. Quantum physics covers it all. And you're right. The church people are the hardest ones. I've tried to talk to them before. And, only if they ask the question can I give an answer. Because if you're not hungry for it, they'll never receive it.
I appreciate, and
people
I'm
just
so
got to do their own
grateful.
homework and study this stuff.
And you've done all of that, and I appreciate it. And I'm so grateful in how you present the information, because you're just saying, here you go, here's the experience, and here's the science that I use to research. Now you can sit with this. You do with it what you want. You're just presenting the information in a way for us to.
Like Tesla said, Tesla. Well, one man calls God, another one calls the laws of physics. Right. So they're synonymous, I try to convince the people who go to church all the time, and I think I call them separatists, because they're always praying at their plate or treating God like he's someplace else. God is in you. Yes. The essence of God was put into us, which we all can become one with that.
Yeah, and we're not separate.
Cutting out here. No.
So, Cindy, just in our chat, Cindy's asking, are Bigfoot assisting nature for us and observing us? It's okay. Thank you it's okay to be here late. I appreciate that you showed up, and I think that's a great question.
Yeah, they are observing us, and are they here to assist us? A lot of them are. They're watching over us. I'm sure I've had something watching over me a lot, because I've lived on the edge quite a bit. And I really shouldn't be here. I never thought I would be here in my 80s, but here I am talking to you, Carrie.
I'm happy about that. I was looking forward to it.
No. It's just I feel very, very privileged to have had the life I've had and to be able to talk about this stuff now, because I think it's so important in this day and age that we're living in. And more and more of these beings are being seen, Bigfoots. More and more UFOs are being seen. Our government says they exist now. They're great. We believe in them. They're not a weather balloon or anything like that. It's just nice. It's fun having these conversations.
Do you find there are more?
Did I answer her question?
Yeah.
I got a
Well,
good
yeah. She was asking if
memory, just not
they
as
are
long as it used to be.
if they are assisting nature for us, right? If they are helping our planet maintain its vibrational space and beauty, and I feel they're encouraging us to do the same, to be mindful of where we live and how we are affecting our land.
Absolutely. That's what I told them up in Portlock off the record. I said, if you just show appreciation, because they had over timbered it years ago. I mean, place way back in the back, you see where they timbered bunches. And they were also mining the area, and fishing and mining and all that stuff that was going on. I said, you probably just pissed them off. And you get out there and some big 12, 15-foot monster looking thing steps out of the woods. I imagine they would have shot at it. And they probably did, and that really would have made them happy. So I think that was probably happening. I don't know that because no one's around you could talk to that was there in the 40s. But from what I've seen and what I learned from the area, they're still around, and they will always be around, pretty much, until they're not, I guess.
So do you think that
there's a lot of stuff going on in Alaska.
if we keep talking about the Portlock experience, so like that happened in the 40s where they took everybody out of the village because they were being attacked so viciously. Do you feel that those stories, like we have oral stories, so our oral stories get passed down, that within the Bigfoot in their family structures, they pass that down as well too? So them showing up again is triggering those old traumas, like they've got to step up their game, and because the same thing may happen again.
Half of what you're saying is cut out. I'm not getting it all, but if you're saying we think they would come back again,
well, would
they're
Bigfoot?
Back. There's nothing missing there. They're still there.
Oh no, that's what I mean. But I mean, from a Bigfoot's perspective, seeing this group of men coming back, would it trigger within Bigfoot if they were sharing their own oral stories? Like, this is the history, we were here, and they were, abusing the land and taking from it, so they pushed them out. So here we go again. Now we've got to push these guys out so they don't do the same again. Like, do you think they would share that oral story the same way?
Carrie, a lot of what you're saying.
Our big energy, Ron.
Yeah. I'm writing something. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I just wondered if you feel that maybe they share history amongst their own community the same way that we do.
Well, I don't know. I mean, do I think they do? Well, I know they're conscious beings or sentient beings. I have no reason why they wouldn't. There it is. I don't know. I mean, we got to ask them sometime, I guess, if they get a reply.
Yeah.
That's what we need, is to understand their language, because I don't know if the ones in Alaska speak the same way as the ones I encountered in the Sierras or not. A lot of people claim they talk to them, and they do. I mean, I've tried to talk to them, but I don't get an answer. Not something I can understand. but that hasn't happened in quite a while
I,
now.
I've had people on saying that they do as well too, that they've spoke with them, even just through meditation and doing like remote viewing and tapping in and through remote viewing. And I had never even thought about doing that. Like, I don't know why I didn't even think about potentially doing that. But my first thought was, do I have permission? Do I have permission to ask those questions? Do I have permission to interact that way? And maybe I don't. Maybe that's not part of what I'm supposed to do, you know?
Well, anybody can remote view if they just learn how.
Oh, no, I know how to remote
view. If you
view.
want to do that, just do it. And then ask them when you get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I never thought about it before.
Well, now you have.
It's going to be a whole Saturday project now.
There you go.
I didn't have plans.
Do you go out by yourself?
Yeah, me and my dogs. Yeah.
Well, is your dog, what kind of dog you got?
I have two. I have, they're both mixes. So I have a Chihuahua Pug and I have a Bulldog Shar-Pei. Is it freezing again?
Can't hear you.
Oh, it's so funny that it's doing that, eh?
Well, I just don't know what you're asking me when you. I always suggest I've got some interest in dogs and these things, because if the dog's aggressive, and which a lot of them do. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Go like this. Okay.
Yep.
If they're aggressive and want to protect you, they go barking at them and chasing them. You could lose your dog. And, however, if they mind you and come back, they'll crawl under your legs. And I got on my second CD, I got a recording of a 911 call made by a man in Washington. He lost his dog, a big German Shepherd, and it got thrown 35 feet over this fence.
Wow.
And he saw Bigfoot.
Wow.
So that's he hit. I got the.
That would be on your list of do's and don'ts.
Would be what?
That would be on your list of do's and don'ts.
To what? Take a dog or not?
On your dog, yeah. That would be horrifying.
Well, it would be. If they come back when you call them and stay with you, or something like that. But if they start chasing something, they're probably going to. So I had this guy in Washington, this big German Shepherd, went out to where this thing was.
For me,
he heard a big thump and a yell and a thump.
The remote
flying over the fence, 35 feet away. We measured it.
Wow. The remote viewing part, I think, is the part.
Yeah, you should be able to do that.
Yeah. Sure. I had never thought about exploring that with Bigfoot and remote viewing in that way. And I think that it keeps coming up in my radar. So I think that it's being put in my path for a reason. It's something that I'm needing to explore. Michelle is just sharing.
Yeah, or maybe even the dog man.
Yeah.
You got dog man up there, so.
Yeah, we do. There's stories of dogman just outside of where I live, actually. Michelle is just sharing, I like the idea that they can pass down generational stories or maybe traditions, just like they teach their young to cover their tracks. I wonder if Spam or canned peaches would be in there somewhere.
As far as food goes, I think probably they like what we like. They're omnivores. A lot of times I carry canned stuff around in a backpack if you're walking. One time we took canned stuff up there was when we took our mules and packed them.
Can we talk about altering our reality through vibration, or that collective vibration? Do you feel that Bigfoot are doing the same thing, or that we are assisting them? Yeah.
I'm hearing you.
Oh,
You're cutting out.
we're cutting in and out a bit. All right. I'm going to put the question in here for us. Let's see.
We are a vibration. Each of us has our own individual place and vibration. And if you want to alter your reality, you have to alter your thoughts and meditate and see what comes. If you want to make something happen, just keep saying what you want and not what you don't want. And realize who we are as human beings and learn how to make that connection, that three-way connection from your pineal through your heart's brain. With the heart brain, not take over, but add to your three-dimensional condition things that are on your shoulders.
That makes sense. I don't know if you can you hear me okay right now?
No. Right now I can, yes.
Oh, so
yes.
the question that I started to type out to you next was
no, I don't.
Buggers. I wonder why our sound is doing that. So the question,
the Goober gods, shipyard gods. That's what they're.
I think so. So the question I'm just typing out is that hum or that sound, like a tuning fork being heard, in association with Bigfoot or Sasquatch.
Yeah. When this was happening during the daytime, I heard this big tuning fork sound. That's all I could put it. Didn't see what the source was. Looked up the sky because there's something above us making this whirling sound. And it wasn't a helicopter or anything like that. I mean, that's a different sound. This is like a tuning fork above us. So I have no idea what that was. A cloaked spaceship, maybe. I did see a UFO up there one time.
Did you just have one UFO experience? Really?
Yes.
Are you comfortable to share about that experience?
That I know of.
This is a
that's
thing.
all I had, a UFO experience.
Yeah. Wow.
It was evening time, and I saw this big blue ball, looked like the moon, coming down slowly, definitely controlled, and lost it behind the big trees up there. I'm not sure what that was all about, other than it's happening at the same time the Bigfoot stuff was happening.
Interesting. And again, if it's vibrational and or interdimensional, then of course we have to look at Bigfoot and UFO as an experience at the same time. Not seeing it as two separate experiences. No?
Well, it was two separate experiences, but at the same time, well, the UFO was, it wasn't when Bigfoot was right there making the noises. It was separate
Gotcha.
time.
Gotcha. I still
That's all
want
I
to talk.
saw. Blue. It was blue.
We saw, or my brother did. I shouldn't know. Okay, let's see what we can do here. I'm sorry that there's an issue with the sound right now. I just wanted to ask. Let's see if that goes through.
By the way, in case we get lost here or something, my books and my CDs are all downloadable too on my website.
Which is, so we've been running ronmorehead.com. There's also, you can find Ron on Facebook. Are you on X? And also, no? YouTube. You also have your YouTube channel.
What is my
So funny that we're on Facebook. And the newest book is Bigfoot Unveiled Scientific Answers. Are we better now? Can you hear me now?
No. I heard you say Bigfoot Unveiled. This is the book.
Yes. Yep. Scientific Answers to Bigfoot Mysteries. That came out in.
Oh, I thought it was written by David Paulides.
Which is brilliant. And
earlier this year, yeah.
I think I bookmarked it. Let me just open it up. Do you feel that? Oh, sorry. Let me just pop this up for you and see if you can read it.
Enlarge it here.
Diane is just asking if you could elaborate on Bigfoot sightings or experiences. Do you? She would love to hear more from you about that. Are a lot of the experiences internationally, because you've been to so many different places? Maybe did you have experiences in Peru?
Well, I've been into Siberia looking for the wild man with the shore people, SHOR. They're descendants from Mongolia, and went in there with two professors. Man, they took us way back in the wilderness to a cave and found a track and maybe a nesting place. But you always got to be careful when someone else takes you to a spot that they find evidence, because you don't know, unless you examine it real thoroughly, you don't know if if you were set up or not, because there was a lot of filming there with us. And I spoke to the Darwin Museum in Moscow. I had dinner with Senator Moscow there. I've been down in South America. That was a real eye-opener, South America. I went to Peru and Bolivia and those places, Pumbuco, and several places down there. Ollantaytambo, that was and what can I say? I've had a
Yeah,
lot of
no,
adventure, let's put it that way, but
yeah.
I should have been writing it all down, I guess.
Well, I think so. I'm not always good about writing everything down. I think that recording it somehow, though, even voice recording it, just to have it. I will type it for you.
Mm.
There we go.
Well, the Bigfoot sighting I had, which is this one question here from Diane, I was very quick. They're very, very, very fast. And it was like it was floating down through the trees. It was so fluid. I don't know how any human could, well, a human couldn't do that without tripping on something or something. He's going on to the other two. I mean, a female and the adolescent down there. We recorded it all. And that's the night I saw one. And earlier, Bill McDowell, my friend, he saw one. He saw one that was down by the creek. And I recorded that because you can hear a small voice if you get that book, The Voices of Wilderness, on page 126. There's a download link on that book. And you can download the sound that I heard, the context of what I saw, and what was going on. It's my chronicle, and that's Voices in the Wilderness. I think you held that one up. Yeah. So anyway, that was the experience. I saw one that was making the sounds, and that's what most people say. Well, you don't see what made the sounds, you don't know what made the sounds, and that's really true. Yeah, that's it. I'm happy they're doing a one that.
Do they have a smell?
Go ahead.
Some people report having a smell.
Didn't hear what you asked me. I didn't hear what you.
So in the chat, if you pop over there, I just asked. Some people have reported that their coat shimmers or changes, or that they have a smell.
The smell I never experienced up there. They were very close to us at times, right outside the shelter. And the cloaking, I don't know that we were experienced. Never thought of that during those times because we should have seen them more often as close as they were to us. A lot of times you'd hear them stepping like a bipedal elephant around our shelter. And you'd look for a break in the light from the log wall that we had. And you never see a break. So you don't know. You hear them, but you can't see them. So they may have been cloaking. I just don't know. I wasn't thinking about that, and nobody was. But now that I've talked to a few people, very credible people that have seen them cloak, I wonder if maybe that what was happening up there. My daughter's seen them 3 times.
Oh.
Rhonda saw them 3 times.
Sorry, I'm just typing out the question. So if I don't know if you can still not hear me or not. People that I know that have had Bigfoot sightings or connections or have seen them have talked about that being hybrid as well too, but their eye color actually being blue. Do you have any stories or reports or have any research about their eye color or potentially how that's a hybrid? I don't know if you can see that.
I'm not hearing you.
In the chat. don't know if you can read that in the chat.
We didn't see eye color. I mean, eye shine. Of course, we just saw one of them. We just saw that. But I've heard a lot about that. But one time, a guy took up there. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, I can hear you good. Yep.
Oh, okay, good. Well, the night that we saw the light, glowing light, went by about 3 or 4 foot long, very slowly through the trees, moving along. That was portrayed by David Pilates in his CD, Missing the Hunted. Yeah, Missing 401, The Hunted. I got about 15 minutes, and then we interviewed him up at the camp. I took him up the filmer, and he reproduced that light very well, just where it was, the camp area there. And that's also followed up in that CD by an old lady who was tree hunting, and she saw this pixelization going from one tree to another. At the same time, there was a UFO being spotted by a bunch of people down at the schoolhouse, a mile or two away. And anyway, there's something going on, I think, with the UFOs and these things and their abilities. Just about anything can cloak if you find the right frequency. And you find the frequency of anything, you can change the matter to energy.
Yeah, including us.
That's very important. Including us. We can find the right frequency. We are so separated. We have not evolved to how we're supposed to yet. But then we're in an environment of warring species. And that's because of the negative Anunnaki. That's a little crazy, but the good ones made us. We're made in their image. Let us make man in our image. And so we're very special as humans.
Agreed.
We are better than what we're showing.
I agreed. We are very
and
special.
As long as we try and believe that and work at it with that oneness that I'm talking about. Even Christ said, I wish that all could be one with the Father as I am one with the Father. And that's what I read, the red letter stuff. I don't read all the other stuff. It's all been well mixed up with the interpretations of these scholars from King James all the way back to Constantine. They only allow what they want in there to control the people. And actually, I don't believe in a hell, a real hell either.
I don't either. I agree with you.
How could a God of love, and that's what they say, yeah, God of love, even want a hell? No, we're made to experience things. We're made to add to the universe, not to burn somewhere forever by a God who loves us.
Yeah, I agree. I've never seen it. What I saw can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I've seen from my experience in doing the work that I do, the hell is of our own creation, the same as the heaven. Through thoughts, words, and actions, if they were harmful or hurtful, that it's they have to feel the pain that they inflicted. So they've created their own low vibrational space that they have to feel energetically.
Yeah. I think they'd like for all of us to be in there too.
Yeah, no, thank you. No.
No.
No. I don't agree. If anything feels low vibe, they see the bottom of my shoes as I'm running away.
Get away from it. Yep.
Yeah. This has been fabulous. Thank you so much for being so patient with, not being able to hear. I know that must have been a bit frustrating, but I am so grateful that you were here.
Sorry I didn't hear part of what you were asking me.
That's okay.
Are we going off now?
Yes. We're saying goodbye and good night, and thank you for to all of the people who participated, even people from South Wales, UK, everybody that was here in the chat. Thanks so much for being here tonight, and thank you so much, Ron. And Thank you to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. Next week's guest has had to back out, so I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next week, but if you guys have ideas, suggestions, please send them along to me. And thank you to everybody that was here. So I appreciate all of you so very much. I'm so grateful you guys make the show.
Thank you, Carrie Ann.
Yeah, and please head to.
I appreciate you having me on. It's my honor.
Thank you. Please head to Ron Morehead's website to purchase his books. The latest book was out in March, Bigfoot Unveiled, Scientific Answers to Bigfoot Mysteries. Watch for his documentary, and hopefully we can have Ron back on again and have smooth sailing and another conversation. Good night, folks.
Thank you.